Hey everybody, welcome back. So you now know that I have breast cancer, but I realized that I didn't really give you the specific diagnosis. It is in the description of this channel, but the technical diagnosis is stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma. And stage 2 because two reasons. One, it's invasive, meaning that it has broken out of the breast tissue and membrane and got over under my left arm into some lymph nodes, and also because of the size of the tumor. It's about 1.25 inches, somewhere around there. If you want to be precise, for the mathematicians, 3.3 centimeters, approximately 1.25 inches. Invasive ductal carcinoma. So I told you last time that I decided to relocate to Atlanta, and which meant I had to get a new care team. So I had the original diagnosis and my original surgeon and oncologist, and then I sought second opinion at Northwestern through their surgeon and oncologist. And so moving to Atlanta required a third surgeon and oncologist. And it was a bit nerve-wracking to move and start over again, but I didn't lose a lot of time because this breast care practice, gave me an immediate appointment and got the ball rolling. So I should step back and put some context to this breast cancer story because I think that this is really important context. I used to live in Atlanta when I was married and my kids were small. We lived here for almost 10 years. And so about 17 years ago, we were living here, and I was having some problems with my left breast and went to my primary care, who referred me to a breast care specialist who did a biopsy, ultimately diagnosed that I had a blocked milk duct. I went to surgery, removed that blocked duct. I went home same day with a Band-Aid on, okay? But the tissue, she sent the tissue off to the lab to be examined, and it came back that I had what is known as lobular carcinoma. Now, that did knock me off my feet, because carcinoma, any way you slice it, means cancer. But this doctor went out of her way to explain that it's a horrible name. I don't know why it ends in carcinoma, but it is not cancer. Lobular carcinoma is not cancer. However, it is indicative of being a marker for the risk of cancer that you have. So doesn't mean you'll get breast cancer. This is 17 years ago. It doesn't mean that you'll get breast cancer, but it means that you are at high risk for it. So she put me on tamoxifen and said that I needed to take tamoxifen for 5 years, as to try and lower that risk, block it, whatever the case may be. But here I am 17 years later, having had no problems in between and 100% clean mammograms. And I always have, I don't get screening mammograms because of that diagnosis. I get diagnostic mammograms, which are a bit more extensive. So my mammograms have been clean, but here I am with stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma in my left breast. So in terms of, I think that's important context for where I am now. In terms of surgical options, both originally at my first surgeon with the less so with the Northwestern surgeon, because I was supposed to have another follow-up and then decided to move here, so I didn't, but a little bit. And then certainly had an extensive conversation with the surgeon here in Atlanta, the breast care surgeon. And initially, always the options have been a lumpectomy or a single mastectomy or a double mastectomy. And the lumpectomy just removes the lump, the tumor itself. It'll take a hunk out of the breast tissue, but the breast will be intact. And then lymph nodes, remove the lymph nodes. And the single mastectomy obviously would just remove the left breast and lymph nodes, and then the bilateral mastectomy or double mastectomy would remove them both breasts. So that's where I've been in terms of deciding what to do. And the breast surgeon here said that she strongly recommends, really was urging me to seriously consider just going for the double mastectomy. And the reason was, I came back to the same breast care practice that saw me 17 years ago. I don't have the same doctor though, because unfortunately she passed away in 2015 from breast cancer. But there are two other women and two other doctors, and it was important to me to have female doctors and to have a diverse team, including women of color on my team. So this surgeon is strongly recommending that I consider a double mastectomy because 17 years ago at that same practice, I was diagnosed with lobular carcinoma and understood that I was at high risk for breast cancer. Here I am 17 years later with breast cancer. So she said, if I remove the lump and lymph nodes, you're still high risk for breast cancer. If I remove just the left breast, you're still high risk for breast cancer. By taking both breasts and having the bilateral mastectomy, I significantly reduce my chance for breast cancer. It doesn't reduce it to zero because, they don't excavate the chest wall, so there will still be breast tissue there. So, but, the incident rate of breast cancer at that point would be very, very low. So that is what I am seriously considering. And I said to the surgeon, listen, you will never, ever, ever see hashtag save the tatas behind my name. You will see hashtag save Tracy and her hair, but not the tatas. And I don't know, I guess I was kind of flip about it because I've never had to consider it before, right? And now I am very much facing, she's recommending that I have both of my breasts removed. And that was sort of a gut punch. That might have been more shocking than the initial diagnosis, quite frankly, because as I said in the last video, I was kind of prepared. I had prepared myself for that, and so I wasn't totally shocked. I think that a double mastectomy, maybe it should have initially entered my mind, but it didn't. So hearing, even though the first surgeon had said, a lumpectomy or you could do a single, and she said, and some women would just, if there's any risk, they take both of them just because there's any risk. And so it wasn't the same as having the surgeon say, literally standing in front of me, holding my hands, saying, I strongly recommend that you have a double mastectomy to almost effectively, as best they can, eliminate the risk for breast cancer again. So that's where I am, and that's what I'm considering. And I think that I said to my sister, it feels like such a weighty decision that is all wrapped up in lots of things, but I don't feel like I have enough time to really, really, really consider it in the way I would want to. Like, I would want to just think about this for, I don't know when enough time would be. 3 months, 6 months, I'll get back to you next year. Let me research it. Let me think about it. Let me spend time learning more about reconstructive options. Let me figure out how do I even feel about breasts? They've always been there. And listen, if this makes you squeamy, you might want to stop. But I said in the description this was going to be raw, unedited, and uncut because I don't know. I haven't talked to a lot of women who've had breast cancer, but I'm just telling you what my experience is. And part of making this is for other women who, older Black women who haven't found themselves, don't see themselves reflected, very often in these stories. So, I just turned 61 recently, and so thinking about at this stage what that means, it's just fraught with all sorts of emotions and self-esteem and do I really care? And it even has bled over into the objectification of women and our body parts. And, you know, it's deep, y'all. And I don't know that I can fully, on a video, parse through all the feelings about the loss of both breasts. And I'll set Reconstruction aside because that's a possibility. I mean, the nurse practitioner at the surgeon's office said a lot of women choose to do what they call now go flat. And so just have the double mastectomy and stay flat. Some, no reconstruction. Some stay flat except that they wear a bra with prostheses in them. I think they call them, oh, I'm learning so much. I think they're called foobs, for fake boobs. I think F as in Frank, O-O, B like boy, S is what I've seen. And then women get reconstruction. And I know that, nurse practitioner mentioned it briefly, and I've done some research. I know that there are a few options for reconstruction. One is like saline implants, because silicone would not be an option, but saline implants, or using my own tissue, skin and fatty tissue from the stomach, the butt, or the back area. And under that umbrella of using my own skin and tissue, there are at least 2 ways, possibly 3 ways to do that. And so I have a lot more information to learn, and I'll have a consult with the plastic surgeon soon, and so I'll know more. But it feels like a weighty decision that is wrapped up in emotion, in self-esteem, in objectification, and over-sexualization of women, what breasts mean in this society. I don't know. So that's all what I'm dealing with right now, and trying to parse through that, and knowing that I don't have the leisure of 3 months or 6 months or a year to, think about it and journal about it and reflect about it and talk to people about it. And ultimately, it's going to come down to what I want. And I haven't ever had to think about this before. So, and part of what is making it even a bigger, or part of what's in the calculus of making it a big deal, is that the double mastectomy itself, if I go that route, would be, I think, a 4 to 7 hour surgery. And if I got implants, that adds like 45 minutes to the surgery. If I use my own skin and tissue, it adds 3 to 4 hours to the surgery. So that's a long time to be under. And I don't know, I don't know whether that's a factor I should take into account or not. I'll be under, so I won't know, right? But it just seems like the longer you're under, the more chance for risk. But I also don't feel like I should take the shortcut and do implants if that's not what I really want, and I'm not going to be happy with that. And So it's a lot. I mean, I've read that implants feel less real. Your own skin and tissue feels more real. There are lots of things. So I'm just kind of stream of consciousness because these are the things I'm thinking about. This is what's on my mind. And more information to come. So I'll be at the plastic surgeon soon. So hopefully the next video I'll be able to tell you what I learned there and see if I have any more insights. So thanks guys again. I'm so happy you're here with me on this journey. It helps to know that I'm not alone. Talk to you next time. Bye.